Hi, my name is McCarthy. In this presentation, we'll talk about the Photography and Desire lecture that we received from the Absolute Photography series. Everyone experiences desire and we all want for different things, but one question we were asked during our lectures was, how do we know what we truly desire? How do we tell apart from what we know we want and what we think we desire? I believe that many factors have an input on this, from friends and family to ads and social media. To gain a more unbiased opinion, I created a short survey that I could send out and collect results for. This would offer me a better insight to what others think about desire. This survey was made up of 5 questions, which you'll be able to see on the screen in front of you. Overall, I had 10 responses ranging from the ages of 19 to the 70s. Responses that I received were quite varied, but most of the answers I got were based around money, food, and peace. I asked a question about how often we want something because we see a friend or family member having it first, 1 being never and 5 being all the time. The majority of people voted in the middle, suggesting it sometimes happens, but not all the time. Personally, there has been a fair few times that a friend or family member has something. I've then thought about wanting it, but after a while that goes away, and I start to question, did I ever really want it in the first place? Looking back at the results, there is a fairly split result when questioned about, does social media affect the way that we think? This leads on to, is it possible that you believe you want or desire something because social media has told you so? The responses to this, it shocked me. 40% of people said no, but others suggest that although social media can have an effect on the type of things we desire, when it comes down to what we want, what we truly want is based more on a personal gain and desiring to be happy in people's own ways and not being told by social media. Moving on, I would now like to discuss how photography influences our desires. For many years, women have been the key to advertisement, being sexualized for money. The brand American Apparel, their past advertisements could be classed as literal porn as they were so sexual. We were initially shown some images by John which were incredibly inappropriate for an advertisement. I decided to go away and investigate the brand's older adverts. I was shocked and disgusted by what I had found. Essentially, all they were doing was objectifying and sexualizing women for gain. Although most of them were eventually banned, the question to be asked is how they were allowed to be created into the first place. For a room full of people to agree on such ill-considered and over-sexualized adverts is absurd. The use of text within American Apparel's adverts demonstrates the way of thinking that happened whilst they were created. On most standard adverts, you can clearly see what the product is, and the writing is big enough to read and take your eyes away from the images, even if it is for a few seconds. However, on the images you can see on the screen in front of you, there is a lack of text and the information regarding the product is non-existent. It is occupied by over-sexual poses to please the eyes of others. The items being sold are contradicted by the way they are advertised. The imagery used seems to be aimed towards the male gaze, although the product that is being sold is for a female. It could be considered that it was created that way so males would feel more obligated to buy them for their partners. As a female, it makes me uncomfortable seeing women being objectified for their bodies in order to make sales for a company. Progressing on, I will speak about the reality versus fantasy when it comes to photography and portraiture. In today's society, it's progressively getting easier for individuals of any age to manipulate their images to what they believe they should look like. It is a difficult society to live in when most images you look at are heavily edited and what they are in real life. Many people will have a type of body that they desire, but how much of that is personal versus what they've been convinced to look like through social media? Online, you may be witness to other people's fantasy lifestyles that may seem unrealistic. Netflix series Inventing Anna portrays a young woman who lives her life within a fantasy, but her reality catches up to her. Our lecturer provided us with a scene from the show which caught my attention, therefore I decided to watch it for myself. Anna is driven by her dream lifestyle, which is fueled by the idea of power and money. She spent most of her time around socialites and celebrities. As a result of her actions, her fantasy lifestyle soon starts to merge with the harsh reality of how many people must live their life. Anna had other alter egos or personas that she would use to take advantage of others and fake her way into success. Pretending that she belonged in that lifestyle, like many in the real world, worked for a period of time until her lies and manipulations caught up to her. Blinded by success, in this fantasy world she lived in, she became oblivious to the needs of the real world and the people she had around her. She wanted this lifestyle so badly that she started to sacrifice friendships in order to get where she wanted to be. Coming back to reality when she found herself in a situation she couldn't get out of, she finally had to face the consequences of her actions. Overall, is having a desire a positive or a negative thing? Like in Inventing Anna, she was driven to have success, but was willing to sacrifice everything that mattered in reality to achieve this success in a fantasy. A question to ask about American Apparel is what the company's true intentions behind the advertisements are. Are they really trying to meet the needs of their consumers, or are they clouded by their own desire? As a female consumer, seeing sexualized images of females makes me uncomfortable and the product unappealing. It makes you question what the intentions were from the creators. The examples given shows two damaging effects that desire can have upon people and companies. Desire can cloud a person's perspective and blur the lines of right and wrong.